Welcome back to BS with Brian Simpson, episode 145, I think it is. We are back. I hope everybody enjoyed the little 3-part saga. We got a lot of questions from him, and yeah, man, we got a lot of fucking emails. I love this, I really do. Let's start with Chris. All right. Hey, Brian, long-time listener and big fan of the stand-up you do. My life is what you would probably call stable, okay? Married, career homeowner, and new father. Everything is going great aside from the fact of my health. Over the past few years, I've noticed things like difficulty walking at times and losing feelings in my legs. Over time, it has gotten even worse. That sounds like MS. Or something like that, right? I've recently been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Dr. Brian, that is. No, I'm sorry. And I'm awaiting treatment. I'm worried things won't get back to the way they were physically. My job is mostly physical, and I do it well. I'm also a manager for the company. You're a manager for the company. Are you? Wait a minute. That's confusing. The company that diagnosed you? Or you just saying like your company? Okay, I think that's what you mean. You're a manager at work. I'm worried that at my age, 38, I might have to find something different to do because of the physical limitations. I've only had 2 careers in my life, and I'm a hard worker, but physically limited now. I was always a very active person, and it was hard to keep me in the house. Now I'm afraid to go out and push myself physically. I'm worried about the difficulties of starting a new career, especially with what's going on with me. Luckily, I have the motivation of a family to keep going, but this sickness is very depressing and debilitating with a mortgage, car payment, and bills. Do you have any recommendations on directions to look for a new career that might be accepting of my sickness? Let your stand-up and love your stand-up and love the podcast. Keep up the good work, and thanks for listening. I have no idea, brother. A podcast? Be streaming? I mean, OnlyFans? It's probably like a MS OnlyFans, like part of OnlyFans or something like that. But I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure what career is specifically catered to someone with MS. You got any ideas?
I mean, like media, somewhere you can learn editing and stuff like that.
It had to be media, but editing is gonna be hard if you fucking shaking and shit.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but yeah, something where you got to sit at, where you get to sit down. It's gonna be tough for him because he most of his experience is physical.
Yeah.
But I say you got sometimes you got a lie to kick it. You know what I'm saying? Just lie till you get that motherfucking job, wing it until your MS becomes unbearable, and then by then you'll have health insurance and all that other shit. You know what I mean? Because corporate America don't give a fuck if you live or die or how you live or die. And your job, your number one goal is survival. That's how I feel. No?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry I couldn't give you better advice than that, but maybe. But you know what? Also, we have a great audience. Maybe somebody out there in the audience can answer this question for Chris. A good, because this isn't my level of expertise, and that never stops me from talking. But is this something I've ever even thought about at all? So I don't have any deeper thoughts than that. But I'm sure someone that's listening to this can drop us a damn email about this. Yeah, I appreciate y'all's help out there. Hey Brian, this is Z Money again. There was a Z Money. I do vaguely remember a Z Money. I've been fucking with the pod pre-Rob. Oh, wow, the pre-Rob days. I didn't even know you were back again. You were back doing the pod again. Your fans fuck with you heavy. I just want to get your take on maybe 2 things, actually. Number 1, lust. All right. As a young man, I feel like I'm more lustful than a lot of people. It's definitely made me, I think that's how every young man feels. It's definitely made me not reach my potential. Like time watching porn or chasing after girls has definitely made me lose who I otherwise could have been at this point in my life. I guess your thoughts on women chasing people that you've known that's gotten fucked over from that and things of that nature. Oh, have you not seen the last few episodes? The lessons in the pudding, man. Well, the thing is, I can't really relate to that because I mean, I was like lustful when I like first hit puberty and stuff like that, but I've never really been consumed by it like a lot of. It's actually, you know what's funny? It's not a lot of my friends that are. A lot of dudes talk like they are, because that's how you're supposed to talk to sound macho. But it's dudes out here that's really, 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 really like addicted to pussy, and they have, you know, they've ruined their lives because of it. You know what I mean? It's that. That's when you got a problem. When it's costing you something and you can't stop, that's where you're an addict. When it's having a detrimental effect. You know, I'm sure there's a CEO out there that's smoking crack, but as long as the stock keep going up, nobody give a fuck. You know. So you know, that's really all it is to it. I mean, if you're addicted to pussy, there's nothing you can do about that because it's everywhere. Especially if you're one of those people that you're like a lustful like sex addict, and chicks be into you. You know, like if you saying like you just at home gooning, then maybe that's like a depression thing or something. You know, like maybe you gotta go talk to somebody. I mean, either way, go talk to someone. You know, some professional help. That's the only thing, because there's no words that's going. Like, there's no one's words pop into your head when your dick is hard. So there's no advice if your problem is is like a sex addiction, there's nothing I can say to you that's gonna change anything. You know, that's gonna take a professional to get into the core of your addiction, of like what is it that, you know, that's gonna take some deep therapy, maybe some ibogaine, I don't know. And also disinformation and people talking about stuff that they don't know what they're talking about. Well, that's what this whole podcast is. You talking about my people and presenting it like they do. Parenthesis Nick Fuentes. I don't know anything about that guy. I've seen little clips of him. I thought Nick Fuentes was a comedian.
No, I think he's just an influencer.
Oh, so he means that's weird. Okay, yeah, I just always look, because every time I've seen like 2 things from him, and they were both funny, but it was like funny in like in a mildly racist way. But is that like his whole shtick? He's just racist, or?
I think he's the opposite side. I think he's more like socialist, like liberal side.
Nick Fuentes? I don't know.
I don't know anything about him.
I would have to learn more about the guy. But he was trying to use him as an example, and I guess he's saying the guy talks a lot, but he don't know shit. Okay, then, you know, I do that too. I've always heard you say, and I think you were quoting somebody else, that a lie gets across the world before the truth has time to put on its pants. That is something that I did not make up at all. Yeah, that's been a saying for a long time. How do you fight against someone who's maybe not lying, but just stating something as fact even though they don't know anything about it, but they think they do? And it's really like an American thing. I don't know, but I fuck with you. I'm glad you're pardoned. Again, Beaver Puss and this bitch from Tokyo. Oh, I remember this guy. Right, he sent me music one time. How do you fight against someone that knows what they're talking about? I mean, how do you fight against someone who's maybe not lying but just stating something as fact even though they don't know what they're talking about? Isn't that even worse? I think you just have to ignore that person. You know? Because when you say fight against someone, I mean, are you about to run in an election or something? Yeah, no, because I get what you're saying. See, over here, I speak on things to the best of my ability, never claiming to be an expert on things that I'm not an expert on. But people that never consider that they don't know what they're talking about, Yeah, you just gotta cut that. You gotta cut around that. Like you gotta treat that like a pile of shit on the sidewalk. You just gotta step around it. You know, don't touch it, don't disturb it, just step around it. You know, because I like a good spirited debate. But if we really get to a point in a conversation where I know what I'm talking about and you don't, and you won't, and logic isn't working and reasoning isn't working, and you don't Google shit and you don't believe it. You know, I'm just like, you got it. You know what I mean? I don't have time for that. You know, I just don't have the energy to give to a motherfucker next email. Somebody always sent me an article. Texas creeps indicted in wild plot to invade tiny island to kill the men and use women and children as their sex slaves. What? Two twisted Texans allegedly plan to invade a small Haitian island with an army of homeless people to kill all the men so they could enslave the women and kids as their sex slaves. Gavin Rivers Weisenberg, 21, and Tanner Christopher Thomas, 20, were indicted for conspiracy to murder, maim, or kidnap in a foreign country for the bonkers plot for the purpose of carrying out their rape fantasies. Federal prosecutors announced Thursday. That is, the accused pedophiles plan to purchase a sailboat, firearms, and ammunition, then recruit members of the Washington, D.C. homeless population to serve as a mercenary force as they invaded Gonavi Island and staged a coup d'etat. The island holds about 100,000 people. Guys, and let me just say, like, one of the guys looks exactly like you would imagine, and the other guy, no, they both kind of look like you would imagine. Yeah. But to think you're going to break onto an island, a Haitian island, and murder 100,000 people so you can get laid is wild. How is it like you, that's something, that must be like some meth. They both look like they've been doing a lot of meth. You know what I mean? Like, because I don't know if y'all have ever known anybody through their whole meth arc, but the people that get hooked on meth over time, it's like Hitler. They stop making sense. They start really believing in their nonsensical ideas to the point where, like, nobody could tell them shit. And then, they invade Russia in the wintertime. And this seems like these guys look like they both just look. You could look at this article. It's on the New York Post, and they look exactly the way you think they would. We're gonna pop it up on the screen if you're on YouTube. We're gonna pop it in pictures, but yeah, that's the type of idea you have when you stop listening to outside feedback on your ideas. Is what I'm trying to say. The pair undertook numerous overt acts in furtherance of their invasion plan, including making operational and logistical plans. Yeah, you gotta go pretty far for the feds to step in for something like this. I mean, have you niggas tried fan fiction or something like that? Weisenberg enrolled in the North Texas Fire Academy to learn command and control protocols. And traveled to Thailand to take sailing lessons, according to the indictment. Thomas even enlisted in the U.S. Air Force to acquire military skills needed for the murderous takeover that the Fed said. With the Air Force involved in the investigation, he changed his initial station assignment from Ramstein Air Base in Germany to Andrews Air Base in Maryland to be close to potential homeless recruits in the D.C. area. Now, wait a minute. Why did you specifically want homeless people from D.C.? Those ain't the niggas that's gonna die for you. I don't understand how you thought this was a viable plan. Both were also charged with persuading a minor to make CP, or CSAM as they call it now, which was found on their devices. Oh my God, these guys are going for the piece of shit Hall of Fame. The pair allegedly planned to storm Gonavi Island, part of the Republic of Haiti. It's located in Port-au-Prince Bay and is the largest island off the island of Hispaniola. Despite picture postcard beaches and views, its population has suffered widespread hunger. Yeah, because see, that's what I don't get, bro. Okay, your plan was to recruit the homeless to invade an island of starving people to turn into your sex slaves. But how are you going to recruit the homeless? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Maybe you're going to promise them somewhere to live if they come take over this island. And I don't know, man. Yeah, obviously this plot doesn't make any sense. Yeah, put them under the prison. That reminds me of a lady I saw yesterday. Some people just need to be up out of here. You know what I mean? I woke up yesterday and a lady, her neighbor heard her child screaming because she put her in a dog kennel. Have you seen this? It's a tough watch, but look, I'm gonna let you check the shit out real quick. Wait a minute. Right here.
You're not here.
What are you scared of, Emily?
She walked into a fucking kennel, bro.
But she basically her neighbor. Okay, backstory. This lady's late husband was the former sheriff. They've adopted like 50 kids over the years. Their neighbor hears this little girl screaming, a special needs child, by the way, screaming for help, screaming that she's scared, and he walks up like, what the fuck is going on? This woman's put this child in a dog kennel outside. And she's just trying to justify it, like she thinks she's in the right. And he, oh man, it'll just rip at your heart, man. He's called the police already. People are coming. He's telling the little girl she's gonna be all right. It's a wild thing, but this lady was completely didn't give a fuck. It's like, it sounds like she was like overstimulated, but I don't want to diagnose what she had, but it's probably on the spectrum. But she was very overstimulated. She was terrified, and she was in a dog kennel. Because imagine like being adopted, or being a foster parent. It's like, you don't know these fucking dogs. You know what I mean? Imagine, and this lady, there were a bunch of them. But imagine somebody throwing you in a fucking dog kennel. Because y'all don't understand. These are the most vulnerable children, and oftentimes they go live with someone that's abusive. And it's happened to me. It's happened to a lot of the foster kids that I knew when growing up. You live with someone abusive, but what happens is, because I bet you that if they looked into all the cases of all the kids that ever lived with that family, she's abused mad kids. But the problem is like, you're so afraid to go somewhere different that you sort of learn to like tolerate the abuse because you basically rolling the dice if you leave. Like, you get everyone involved and you're a problem, blah, and they move you to another home, you might go somewhere worse. You know what I mean? And then you got to give up all your friends and give up all your love. And so it's like the kids learn to like just not say nothing, just deal with it, blah, blah, blah. Also, you want to stay together. Maybe you with your siblings, whatever. So it's like any rocking of the boat could upset all of that. So it's like they really, it's really nothing that can be done about it because there's not enough people wanting to be foster parents. And so it's like the system, a lot of times, they'll overlook the shit anyway because they're like, well, if we lose this home, then that's 20 more kids, that's, or however many, that's 8, 9 more kids that we got to find somewhere else to be, So it's a dirty game. People like that bitch, they need to put her ass under the prison. That's what I said. Put her under the prison. Put her in a dog kennel. And she's been doing it for so long. I mean, she probably old enough now that she basically got away with it. So it says private message. I'm sorry. It says podcast question. A lot of talk of artificial general intelligence these days, and the possible general intelligence these days, and the possible implications of that. The most common concern I've heard is that corporations who currently have the lead on AI research will be the ones creating genuine artificial intelligence. Am I crazy to think that it's almost in their best interest not to create AGI? Everything in their business models and the way they have gained extreme wealth in general is via control of variables, e.g. laws, regulations, algorithms. If they create true artificial intelligence, how could they possibly control something like that? Am I missing something here? You are not. You're absolutely right. But that's how evil destroys itself. Okay, that's one thing. But a whole other thing is, I remember just seeing something recently about how the CEO of IBM explaining how the AI thing doesn't make any financial sense, like the math doesn't add up, right? And then my numbers may be a little off here, but they're pretty close. But I believe it costs like $8 billion a year to run one. No. What was it? The math was fucking crazy. No, maybe it was $1 trillion. But basically, it's at the point where, or maybe it's 80 billion. Maybe it was $80 billion to build like one of these data centers, right? I could be wrong about that. I think it's more than that. I think it's like $1 trillion to build a data center. But my point is, however much it costs to build the data center, they would need to make that much a month to run the motherfucker. You know, and no one's making that much. You know what I'm saying? Like, no tech company has ever made $1 trillion. You know, no, so for them to be like, oh, we need to average in the trillions of profit. You know what I mean? So I don't know if no tech company's ever made $1 trillion. Is that a true statement? That can't be true.
No way.
There's no way a company's made $1 trillion?
They have to have. One has to have done it.
You think so?
Like Apple, like,
You think Apple's made $1 trillion?
I would almost guarantee it.
I mean, we numbers like that just recently started being realistic. But my point is, no one's making $1 trillion no one's regularly making $1 trillion in profit to cover the cost of what it costs to run a data center. You know what I mean? So it's like, it doesn't make sense. Like, basically the whole AI thing is everyone is speculating that it's going to be profitable somehow, but no one's actually worked out how. But people are putting mad money into it. So it just seems like a recipe for disaster. It's like everyone is investing in this thing and no one knows how it's going to make money. You know? Okay, right. Okay, so $1 trillion market cap, but that's not profit.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, no. Okay, yeah, you're right. Yeah, Apple definitely hit that. But I don't know if this AI thing is gonna shake out the way we think it is. I think it's just like everything else. We're gonna fumble the bag, trying to make sure our rich people stay richer and our poor people stay poor, and some other country is gonna take our fucking lunch with the AI shit. You know what I mean? Like, China's gonna probably end up privatizing the power industry, so they don't run into this problem. You know what I mean? Because maybe that's what it was. Maybe it costs $8 billion a month or something to run a data center, and they want 1,000 of them or 100 of them. I forget what he said. The numbers were fucking crazy. Maybe I should just look it up instead of just speculating the numbers, huh? Hold on. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I found it instantly. Yeah, he says there's no way tech companies' massive data center investments make any sense. Goldman Sachs estimated earlier this year that the total power usage by the global data center market stood at around 55 gigawatts. The power required by the data center market could jump to 84 gigawatts by 2027. Yet building out a data center that uses merely 1 gigawatt costs $80 billion. Oh, so I was pretty close. If a single company commits to building out 20 to 30 gigawatts, then that would amount to $1.5 trillion in capital expenditures. That's an investment about equal to Tesla's current market cap. All the hyperscalers together could potentially add about 100 gigawatts, he estimated, but he still requires $8 trillion in investment, and the profit needed to balance out that investment is immense. So that's what I'm saying. Imagine banking on making $8 trillion when the most the companies ever made is 1.5 trillion. And you planning on spending 8 trillion, or you have to plan on making 8 trillion. That don't make any sense to me. So he said it's my view that there's no way you're going to get a return on that, because $8 trillion of capital expenditure means you need roughly $800 billion of profit just to pay for the interest. Moreover, thanks to technology's rapid advance, the chips powering your data center. So this was the part that got me. They become obsolete quickly. You've got to use it all in 5 years, because at that point, you've got to throw it away and refill it. So every 5 years, you got to rebuild. Right? You got to go back into the trillion. You got to go back into the trillions to build to replace all the chips with the newer chips. I don't know. I think this is all bullshit. I think whoever is behind this AI shit, they're trying to create this bubble on purpose so they can sit back and profit. You know? But everybody's still investing. They're up to $380 billion of investment. So a lot of people are putting their money in this, but everybody ain't gonna make money. So, but I digress. I like to say that, but I'm not actually digressing. I'm moving on. How's it going, Brian? I honestly just came across your videos a week or so ago, and I think you're great. Also, literally just found out you were in the Marines. Bruh. Simple 5, brother. I have a serious question for you, man. Fuck it. Here it is. You probably won't even get this, but fuck it. I joined the Marines January. Why do people do that? I joined the Marines January of 2009 after boot camp and infantry school. I was sent to 1-1, and they spent the next damn near 2 years making me into an unofficial raider for 1-1. So I think he's saying 1st Division, 1st Marines. Then after that, I spent 621 days floating around. Man, this motherfucker sounds like he fresh out the Marine Corps. Then after that, I spent 621 days floating around on a boat, the USS Comstock. During that time, I was sent into Northern Africa, just about every country in the Middle East, China, and God knows where else, or we were hunting pirates. While in these places, I was either training Muslim to commit murder and genocide or doing it myself at the orders of the U.S. government. I never got to go home in that 621-day period, and I was in a helicopter crash, blown up, and stabbed in my right thigh. God damn. Hopefully all at the same time, right? That didn't happen sequentially. That would be really bad luck. Every time I got injured, I was kept on the boat for a week or two, then thrown back into hell. They even did my surgery when I was dying on a damn boat, the USS Green Bay, I think, or the USS Boxer. Don't really remember. I was dying. Didn't go home after that either. Was kept on the boat for about 3 weeks after that happened and thrown back into hell for another 4 or 5 months. God damn. They ain't seen you home after you was in a helicopter crash? It seemed like by the end of it, they were trying to kill us off. It just kept getting more and more dangerous, and less of us would come back. I believe the only reason I came home is because I lived long enough that my 4-year-old enlistment was ended, and I told them I wasn't realistic. Obviously. Oh, that's what he says, obviously. Then when I got home, they told me I needed drugs to deal with all my injuries. The knife cut my IT band, so I'm pretty crippled. Also got a big chunk blown out of my right arm from the IED. But anyway, funny, they wouldn't give me drugs the whole time I was deployed, but as soon as I was home, they had me super drugged up. Only had a little bit of time left on my enlistment, and I was a heroin addict by the end of it. I then struggled with heroin for 2 years until I got off that shit in 2015. Then the VA got involved and decided I needed pain pills for my injuries and gave me a bunch of these every month. I struggled with those till 2021. They also had me drooling on myself with antipsychotic and SSRIs during all of that time until I told them to stop giving me that shit, and they still to this day try. Anyway, there is your rough outline of the backstory. Now to the advice part. Holy shit, man. I don't know if it's an advice I can give you. Let's see. 2 years ago, I decided to start talking about what happened in the military for the first time, and ever since I decided to do that, my life has went to hell. I'm being harassed by the U.S. government very badly. I'm pretty sure they want me dead, so I shut up. To give you an idea about some things I talk about, I train Muslims in the Middle East, and I'm also positive I trained Hamas and the Muslims that went into Yemen in 2015 and murder a shit ton of people. Also, like I said, Hamas. So October 7th, also, I was in Libya in 2011. They had us start a civil war there and got the leader dragged into the streets and brutally murdered. You talking about Gaddafi? That kind of shit. Now, I am not going to stop because I want my fucking soul back and I feel this is how I get it. The fucking truth will set you free is an understatement. What the fuck do I do now? Because they're getting fed up with me opening my mouth. My family and anyone associated with me is being harassed as well, and these people are feds. I don't want violence in my life. I learned one thing from war, and that was to value life. I was very fucking good at it. There's a reason I'm still here. You're very fucking good at violence or life? Also, that does not mean I won't defend my life and the lives of my wife and kids. I want to live in peace and raise my children to be better than me. I've asked everyone for help and received none. I am not a criminal, nor do they have any other reason for this constant harassment, and I'm getting tired of it. What should I do? God damn. See, I knew you was going to ask me something I couldn't give you advice on. I knew by the way the email started that he was going to be like, it's like, what do I do about the federal government harassing me? I have no fucking idea. I don't know, man, because nothing works like it. We living in the upside down, topsy-turvy days, you know? Because there's probably nothing you can do. You know, like there's probably nothing you could do that would work that was legal. You know? Because the federal government is a umbrella term. I mean, there's all sorts of organizations that all have different motivations and all that. It's like the government isn't after you. Like some specific person at some specific organization is after you, you know, or harassing you, and you got to consider this at least as a slight possibility. You might need to be on some of the meds they trying to put you on. You might be paranoid because you on something that's making you paranoid, or you off something that's keeping you from being paranoid. But yeah, I wouldn't even know where to fucking begin if the government was harassing me. Especially after this shit. This is why, man, I mean, they did this man dirty. Like every time you get hurt, they just put your ass right back out there. That's wild. That's wild. Yeah, but I don't know, man. I don't feel like do you have any advice?
I mean, protection by media.
I guess that is what you're doing. But this is a very small platform. I mean, this might help somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also I don't know what you mean by the government is harassing you. You know, because that would change what you need to do. You know, because if it's somebody high profile, I think that the fighting in the media is the best way to go, because high profile people don't want bad publicity. But I don't know what to do if it's like the assistant FBI director is harassing you. I don't know what you do about that. You know, because I used to be like, go to, sue. Go to the Supreme Court. But, a lot of times, you probably have some shit in your contract where you can't sue the government or some shit, Yeah, I'm pretty sure they got all their dots out, crossed, T's queued, and all of that. But that was intense, brother. Simplify indeed. Send a follow-up? Yeah, well, I'm sure we'll get a follow-up from him. Yeah, we'll see. Wow, another follow-up. See, this is another one of someone just referencing. This guy says the other episode. It's like, you gotta be more specific than that. Like, at least tell me exactly what episode you're talking about, because actually this happened 2 weeks ago. So what is this? Let's see. Oh, this is Dubai shit. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Dubai. Okay, so if y'all are keeping up with the Dubai thing, this guy, he had a best friend, I think, who had a thing for this girl who wasn't really all the way solid with him, or
He was married.
Hold on. Yeah, he was married to one of his cousins.
Yes.
Right, and he started having an affair with a divorced woman, and that woman decided to go on their boys' trip with them, right? And then their boy didn't come or something like that. Anyway, she tried to fuck his friends, and she started fucking one of his friends, and they didn't want the friend to find out about it, but you already know, we've seen this story before. And we gave him some responses, but this is his follow-up email. Well, he followed up a week later, and this is him following up once again. Thanks again, Vice Champ. I really appreciate that lady who emailed you and got you reflecting on my dilemma from the other episode. She had you breaking things down with words that hit right at my own emotional mess with my side chick. Oh, I didn't realize you had a side chick too, brother. I thought you were smashing your best friend's side chick. Okay, yes, Brian. Guys need to rely on each other emotionally more often to recover from heartbreaks, because that shit hurts in ways that I cannot put into words. As for the part when you were saying that a woman could really hurt a guy so bad that it might change the world as we know it. In Arabic, we describe a pussy for a man as the Bermuda Triangle for airplanes. They are both triangular in shape, and once you're in, good luck finding your way out. Much love to you all. Okay, yeah. So this is in reference to, there's an episode called The Dubai Affair. I want to say it was 2 or 3 episodes before this. Yeah, that's what that's in reference to, you know. Dr. Good Question. This guy emails a lot. He's probably been emailing for years now. Hey, Brian, I feel like all games now are a clone of something else. Like 90% of games that come out now are basically Call of Duty, Fortnite, or a Last of Us type over-the-shoulder shooter. Or if not a shooter, it's another over-the-shoulder thing like the new God of War they made over the shoulder rather than the OG hack and slash thing they were doing, which I think was way better. Even the new Zeldas have been kind of FromSoft style thing. Are there recent games you've played that don't really fit into any formula? Nope. There's nothing new under the sun, brother. You know, we live in a copycat world. It's a copycat industry. I mean, especially nowadays that it costs so much to make a game, people ain't taking chances. If it's not an established franchise, they're not putting money into no fucking groundbreaking ideas. You know what I mean? Until the next thing comes along. I mean, I think the worst trend was Battle Royale. I think that ruined games. You know, now every game got to have a Battle Royale mode. You know, even at the expense of like there being anything else. So it's just what it is, man. You know, that Hollywood does the same thing. You know, anytime you see a hit anything, you're going to see a clone of it within a year. You know? And they know it because you got to understand, like, the people that run these businesses, they don't give a fuck about original. They're not artists. You know? They're business people. They want to make money. So they'll do whatever they think is going to make them money. They hire artists to help them make money, but they don't give a fuck about no art, nigga. You know what I'm saying? None of them are like, oh, but this ain't original. Hell no. If somebody could, because the way they see it is like Call of Duty, the franchise has been so profitable, they're like, well, yeah, okay, so what if we're a Call of Duty clone? If we make a quarter of what they made, we rich as a motherfucker. So who cares? They don't give a fuck about any of that. They don't give a fuck about none of that. Like, remember after the Quiet Place, they came up with that movie? You ever seen The Quiet Place? And then they came out with a movie where, like a very, very similar movie, Bird Box.
Bird Box with Sandra Bullock.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, if something's a hit, they gonna remake that motherfucker, and you know that's just what it is. And before you start fact checking me, it's not about when the movies came out, because a lot of times what y'all don't realize is like scripts be floating around Hollywood for years. Somebody wrote a script and they pitched it to one person, pitched it to another person. So you know, by the time shit getting made, everybody done read it, everybody done seen it. So people will steal your motherfucking idea. It's just that simple. You know, and that's the world we've always lived in, especially nowadays, because people don't have any shame about stealing. You know, there are some people. Think about this. There are large influencers with a shit ton of followers, and literally all they do is take ideas from other people. They're creators that have never created anything. You know, and all they do is see what's trending, and then they just remake that. That's what they do every single day. They get up every day and go look for other people's ideas to take. They don't don't have any original ideas at all. Nothing they do is original, and there's some people that they see, real artists would have shame about that. You know, but there's no. You know, I don't know, man. Shit's going to hell in a handbasket, because I think we're at the point where people are, what's changing is the things people feel shame about. And I think people feel shame about all the you know, we live in this era of like everyone having to outwardly moralize. You know, they call it virtue signaling. And all the shame is centered around that. It's not just you whether you're virtue signaling, but even if your unwillingness to virtue, like that's what happened to Sydney Sweeney, right? She did that jeans ad. People took a certain way, and because she refused, because they wanted her to respond like she purposely did something racist, right? And her refusal to do so, they treated her like a racist anyway. So like all the moral, you know, all the shame is around you refusing to say the right things and refusing to tweet the right thing, or making sure you say the right thing and be seen a certain way. But we've lost basic shame, right? Stealing ideas used to be something that was ashamed of, that you should be ashamed of. You know, plagiarism, you know, and various other things that I can't think of off the top of my head. You know, or just modesty or whatever. Like somehow we went away from church. Because listen, don't get me wrong. This ain't the first generation to be walking around with their cheeks out. You know, but it's the first generation that don't get judged for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why, like, if you saw, like, it wasn't that long ago. I want to even say, nigga, like, 2000. The year 2000, if you saw a woman walking down the street with yoga pants on, you'd be like, what the fuck? What, like, you know what I'm saying? Like women used to wear tights, like wear a skirt on top of the tights, and then they just started wearing tights. That's what it looked like. Like the tights used to be so you couldn't see stuff under their skirt. You feel what I'm saying? And then they just took the skirts off and was like, fuck it, I'm just walking down the street with my pussy out. And I'm not saying you should be ashamed of that, but I'm just saying, like, there's no shame. You know? People don't feel no shame at all. This dog kennel bitch. You know, I just think, or I won't say people feel no shame, but like I said, I think the things that people feel shame for have switched to the point where, like, I think we got to go back and review. We didn't have a meeting about it. You know, you should be able to wear whatever pants you want. That wasn't a good example. Yeah, wear whatever pants you want. I personally like walking outside and seeing pussies out. But you know what I'm saying? Is people aren't ashamed of being a plagiarist, right? I don't know if y'all remember the Fat Jewish. Remember him? Have you ever heard of that guy? He was one of the first, like, viral people. And you know, he just basically made a bunch of money off of taking memes from people. He would take people's memes, or take people's posts, crop out any sign that it came from whoever, and post it like he made it up. And he ended up getting a deal, and it's like, how is he so funny? You know, he's doing articles, internet's funniest guy, and he ain't make up none of that shit. He was just taking shit from people. You know, and he played the, oh, my bad, oh, that's a mistake, oh, I'm sorry, until he was rich, and now he don't give a fuck what anybody says. You know what I mean? And that was around the time, because people started calling him out for it. And he faced so little criticism, so little consequences for it, that it kind of just opened the door for like all the creatively bankrupt people to be like, oh, we can all do that. So now, I mean, that's really what it is. Like 80% of content creators are just taking content from the top people. You know, people do the same thing, because I watch a shitload of tech reviews and stuff like that, and you'll see like one of the top people will drop a review, and then everyone else will just say the exact same thing. You'll hear like the same terms and word and verbiage and phrases. And don't get me wrong, sometimes a lot of them are getting paid and they have to say certain phrases, but they have to make it seem like it's coming from them, you know, and shit like that. But they all just copy each other. Very few people are actually doing the creative work out here. Most of these people are stealing, you know, and comics, even comics, they'll remix some shit you said, you know, like I've seen it a million times. The people that don't have ideas never have ideas. You can't just become a creative. You know what I'm saying? Because the creative is not about what you're doing; it's what you're thinking of. You know what I'm saying? Because I can have an idea and tell another motherfucker to do it. They're not creative. You understand what I'm saying? I'm creative. I created it. So it's like, and it's not a lot of actually creative people in the, I don't know what you want to call it, creativity business or the art world or whatever. It's not. Most of them aren't creative at all. They're mildly talented, and parents thought they were special, or they want attention, you know, because we used to complain about the fact that like most artists don't get their due till they dead. And I think maybe we was on to something with that, because now that anyone can make money off art at any way, at any time, because back then, you know, no one started doing art to get rich, is what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? Like Picasso wasn't painting so he could get rich. But now it's like, because you can get rich while you're alive from doing art, now it's being flooded by all these people that are insincere about their passion for it. It's like people back then, it's like people painted. He painted because he was a painter, and that's what his spirit was speaking for him to do. Maybe he was probably trying to make a living. I'm sure he was trying to sell his paintings, but he couldn't have imagined that his paintings now would be selling for millions and millions of dollars. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's the art world is full of people now that don't have it, that don't give a fuck about their art. They're just trying to be famous. They want social media, they want likes, they want clout, they want followers, but they don't give a fuck about the respect of their peers, or whether they're doing anything original, whether they're contributing anything to the art form, and they don't give a fuck if the art form even lives or dies. You know? And again, there we go. Doom and gloom at the end of the episode. So yeah, everything sucks. Everything sucks, and it's going to continue, except technology. Everything sucks. No, even that. I mean, I'm glad I live in an age where tech is so awesome, but that sucks too. You know? I'm off my meds, so I'm even more cynical today. I'm on new meds. I'm even more cynical today. But yeah, if you want to come see me on tour, I'm going to be, by the time you see this, I'm going to be in Philly and then San Diego. That's the 11th, 12th, and 13th, and the 19th and the 20th. So you'll see this on the 9th. I'm going to be in Philly on the 11th, 12th, and 13th, and then I'm going to be in La Jolla, San Diego at the Comedy Store on the 19th, 20th, and 21st. Mm-hmm. So go to briansimpsoncomedy.com to check that out. If you want advice from the advice champ, email me at BSwithBrianSimpson@gmail.com. Yeah, see y'all next time.